Today I'm going to be doing a career sim on Dominik Kubalik. He's a 24-year-old top 6 forward for the Chicago Blackhawks. In the current NHL, he has 30 goals and is one of the better rookies in the NHL. Let's get into year 1 of this career simulation. In year 1, the Chicago Blackhawks came 7th in the conference with 80 points. Dominik Kubalik had 32 points in 78 games played. Since they had such an abysmal season, they got the 7th overall pick and picked Alex Holtz. In the offseason, Dominik Kubalik and the Chicago Blackhawks agreed to a $2.1 million contract for 2 years. The Chicago Blackhawks placed 3rd in their conference and made it to the playoffs this year. 14th in the NHL. 23 points in 75 games for Dominik Kubalik. Carolina ended up winning the Stanley Cup this year. And here are the awards. But Patrick Kane taking home 1 award for the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks got eliminated 4-2 in the first round by the St. Louis Blues. Here's some notable retiring players. And there's Corey Schneider as well, pretty good goalie. Here are the notable free agents. In his 3rd NHL season, Dominik Kubalik will be demoted to the 3rd line. Or was he the same? I don't know. But here's the team lineup. It's not looking the best for the Blackhawks, especially their goaltending situation. Dominik Kubalik had 49 points in 82 games. And surprisingly, the Blackhawks made the playoffs and finished 5th in the NHL. There's some awards. So, yeah, Alex DeBrincat taking one home, as well as our coach took a trophy home. Yeah, so the Blackhawks ended up making the conference finals, but did lose to 7 games against the Jets. Notable free agents like Zdeno Chara, Mark Giordano, and Dion Phagouf, the notable free agents. In year 4, Dominik Kubalik will go up to an 84 overall and be promoted back to the 2nd line. They agreed on a new contract worth $4.5 million for 5 years or 6 years, one of them. Team's not looking very good again, but last year they did good. 50 points for Kubalik, 50-50 split on goals and assists. Yep, this is what should have happened last season. The 7th place in their conference and 27th in the NHL. Here's some awards. Florida winning the Stanley Cup. I feel like I see that a lot in simulations, but they're such a stacked team, but they can't convert in real life. Come on. Yep, here's a treat if anyone wanted to see it, even though the Blackhawks didn't make it. Bergeron and Pavelski retired in this year's draft, or retirees, sorry, and Miller and Smith. Since they had such a bad season, they won the draft lottery and picked Pickard as their 2nd overall pick. And here's some free agents. There's also the goalie free agents. Iser Shesterkin leading it. Dominik Kubalik is now on the 3rd line of the Chicago Blackhawks team at 84 overall. He has 5 years left on his contract at $4.5 million. The team is looking okay. Not the best, but it's there. They signed Igor Shesterkin and Ben Bishop. So Dominik Kubalik had 56 points in a full 82-game season. The Chicago Blackhawks got 2nd in their conference with 102 points, and they got 3rd in the league. Here's the top point getters for the season. Alex DeBrincat up there for the Blackhawks. Yep. So here's some awards. DeBrincat taking home 1 for the Blackhawks. The Chicago Blackhawks had a very disappointing playoff run and lost in 5 games to the St. Louis Blues. Here's some good retirees. Very good retiring class this year. For some reason, Dominik Kubalik at an 85 overall is scratched from the team, even though like Blake Wheeler's still out there. So many worse players than Kubalik, but Kubalik got amazing 2 points in 6 games. Chicago Blackhawks missed the playoffs despite having 92 points, finishing 15th in the NHL. You know, it'd be like that sometimes. Here's the top point getters this season. Yeah, so the New Jersey Devils, I think they won. Let's just say they won the Stanley Cup this year. No trophies to be given out to the Blackhawks this year. And they didn't make the playoffs, so they're not there. Marlowe, pretty good retiring class. Rask and Price for the goalies. Here's some notable free agents, and the goalies are pretty good too. Kubalik did end up getting his starting role back on the 4th line at an 82 overall. Dropped 3 overalls from sitting on the bench all season, but still on 3 years left on his contract. 38 points in a full 82 game season for Kubalik. 2nd in their division and 4th in the entire NHL for the Chicago Blackhawks. Here's some top point getters this season. Yeah, Tampa Bay did end up winning the Stanley Cup, which I don't know if it's going to happen in real life, but Chuck Hikens won the Calder for the Blackhawks, despite them not having a good pick. And they made it to the 2nd round before getting beat 4-1 against the Blues again. Another very good retiring class, but not so good for the goalies. Here's the free agents if anyone's interested, and the goalies. Dominik Kubalik is now an 83 overall on the 4th line of a very good Chicago Blackhawks team that came 1st in the Central with 116 points and 1st in the entire league. Jack Eichel and the Buffalo Sabres, top 3 players, all had above 100 points. Chicago with the President's Trophy, and Boqvist with the James Norris. But Buffalo won the Stanley Cup this year. Not a surprise after 3 of their players got above 100 points. Very good retiring class with Ovechkin, Malkin, Kessel, Tavares. And the goalies aren't anything to snot about either. Patrick Kane is now testing free agency. And this season, Dominik Kubalik is going to be on the 2nd line, 82 overall, going to the simulation. He has 48 points in 80 games, 115 for the Blackhawks, 2nd in the NHL and 2nd in the division. Dylan Strome, Evan Pickard, and DeBrincat all had over 100 points for the Blackhawks. Yep, as Hart Memorial going to Pickard, Lady Byng going to DeBrincat. There is also Ted Lindsay going to Pickard and Maurice Richard going to Pickard. They lost 4-1 in the 1st round. The retiring class is pretty good this year. But as you see, Dominik Kubalik is testing free agency. So we'll see how that one goes for him. Goalies are also pretty good, but Dominik Kubalik did end up signing with the Florida Panthers on a $4.775 million contract. He got 51 points in 81 games. That's pretty good for a 32-year-old. Yeah, they did not make the playoffs. They missed. Here's some top point getters. As you can see, the Chicago Blackhawks, his old team, won the Stanley Cup as soon as he left. That leaves him with 0 trophies so far, unless this old Florida Panthers team can get it done. But I'm thinking no, because they've got an old Huberdeau, an old Kubalik. Yeah, if you want to see the playoff trades here, but there's some good retirees this year, but the goalies are not as good. Here's the free agents. Kubalik is now signed for 2 more years, So we'll see how this goes. Dominik Kubalik is now in the second line at 83 overall. He got 46 points in 77 games. But the Florida Panthers only got 70 points the entire season. And they didn't make the playoffs, but here's the playoff draw anyways. Patty Kane is retiring this year. Pretty great Hall of Fame class, if you ask me. Just because Patrick Kane's in it. Yeah, all the creative players that are in here now. When you're this far in the simulation. Dominik Kubalik is on the third line, 81 overall, starting to degress at age 35. He got 34 points in 62 games after being sent down to the NHL. He got scooped up by the Vegas Golden Knights, who came 6th in the division and 22nd in the NHL. He's the top scorers. Nashville won the Stanley Cup. Still can't get it done in real life, but it'd be like that sometimes, you know, like the Maple Leafs always win in this. We'll never win in real life. Sorry, just I throw that out there. There's a playoff thing, some retirees, because why not? There are some decent retirees, except for the Tendies. The Tendies were not good this year. Dominik Kubalik is going to test free agency at 35 years old at a bottom top 6 potential. Dominik Kubalik is now on the fourth line, 79 overall on this team. Probably not going to do anything. Yep, 10 points in 44 games. Avalanche missed the playoffs. See, the Blackhawks are just tearing it up now. All 100-point scores again. Winning the Stanley Cup. Winning 3 of the 4 team trophies. And winning probably, I'd say, half of the normal trophies. Of course, he had to leave. There's a playoff tree if anyone wanted it. Got the retiring class. Very good one indeed. And the goal is also not so good, but whatever. Free agents, if anyone wanted to see them, I don't even know. That's all creative players now. It's like no real one. Dominik Kubalik is now in the AHL, 70 overall on the Screaming Eagles. Got 44 points in 68 games in the AHL, not the best, but he does decide to retire this year with 466 points. I feel like his real career will be better, considering he didn't get much growth because he started at 24. But see you in the next one. Peace.